I'm Major Seth Farrell, Sethferrell, with IMPD Criminal Investigations Division. The information I'm going to share with you is preliminary and subject to change. I want to share with you up front that there are some things we don't know about this incident. The view from the officer's body-worn camera and other video has limited view of the incident because of a fence that was obstructing the view. On Friday, November 17th, 2023, shortly before 5 p.m., IMPD North District officers in a fully marked car attempted to stop a vehicle being driven by a 30-year-old DeMarcus Whitley, who had an active warrant for theft when the property stolen is a firearm for a level 5 felony, unlawful carrying of a handgun with a prior felony conviction, and unauthorized entry of a motor vehicle as a misdemeanor. Detectives were specifically looking for Whitley as a suspect in an investigation of guns being stolen from vehicles in the Broderpool area. Whitley stopped briefly before driving away. Officers initiated a vehicle pursuit that included the use of their lights and sirens. That ended near the intersection of Ruskin Place and North Michener Avenue when Whitley got out of the car as it was still moving. Whitley and a male passenger ran from the vehicle. IMPD officers chased the passenger suspect southbound. The passenger pulled an object from his waistband area. The passenger then jumped a fence behind a residence, and at some point an officer-involved shooting occurred, resulting in the passenger suspect being shot. Officers located a firearm with the suspect, and officers provided him with medical aid. Medics transported the passenger to Methodist Hospital in critical condition, where he later died. Detectives located a firearm at the location where the passenger suspect was shot. IMPD officers located Whitley under a truck in the 7600 block of Ruskin Place. Officers gave Whitley instructions to come out from under the car. Whitley followed the instructions, and officers took him into custody without further incident. Whitley was transported to Methodist Hospital for an unknown eye injury. Whitley was arrested for his warrant and also for resisting law enforcement as a level 6 felony, resisting law enforcement as a misdemeanor, and operating a vehicle having never received a valid license. He should be considered innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office will make the final charging decision. No officers or uninvolved citizens were injured during this incident. Following the shooting, officers completed a check of the immediate area and did not locate any citizens who were injured. Detectives are confident there is no ongoing threat to the community. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office responded to the scene to assist in the investigation. The officer involved was equipped with body-worn camera during this incident. Additional officers involved in the incident also had body-worn cameras that were activated, but the additional officers were not in the exact location of the officer-involved shooting when it occurred. The Indianapolis-Marion County Forensic Service Agency responded to identify and collect potential forensic evidence. The IMPD Critical Incident Response Team responded to the scene to conduct the criminal investigation. IMPD Internal Affairs is conducting a separate administrative investigation. The officer who fired his firearm has been placed on administrative leave, as is standard procedure in an officer-involved shooting investigation. The Civilian Majority Use of Force Board will conduct a mandatory hearing for any attempted use of deadly force against a person. This occurs after the conclusion of the criminal process. We are keenly aware of the number of officer-involved shootings that we've had this year. Any loss of life is tragic. I'm thankful that our officer and no other uninvolved citizens were injured during this incident. Our officers were doing exactly what the community expects of them, tracking and apprehending violent offenders, people who traffic firearms in our city, and making our city safer for all involved. Once again, we have someone who did not stop and follow the actions and directions of the officers. Even in this incident, an individual, Whitley, was given direction to come out from under a vehicle, and he complied with the officers, and he was taken into custody without issue. So we continue to have these situations where officers are giving lawful commands for an individual to stop, and they're ignoring those commands. And unfortunately tonight, tragedy occurred and a loss of life happened. But we're thankful that, again, our officers were not injured, and our officers continue to put themselves in harm's way to try to apprehend these violent offenders.
Major, we know a firearm was found. Was it found near the person who was shot, or was it found in the vehicle? And were there shots fired by the passenger?
The firearm was found immediately next to the passenger who was shot. At this point, we don't know if that firearm was fired or not.
Did the passenger have any sort of criminal record, or was he involved in what you guys were investigating at all?
So at this point in the investigation, we're still working to identify the passenger, so we can't speak to that.
So the driver was the one who had those particular offenses you were trying to...
Correct, yes.
You can release the name of the individual who now is deceased.
Again, we haven't confirmed that individual yet, so we can't release that information. We don't know that information yet.
Was the officer who shot the firearm, was that officer alone at the time?
He was alone at the time, yes.
And you mentioned there was some sort of obstruction with the body camera, like there was a fence that you couldn't really see what was going on. Is that
Yes,
what
there's
the-
a fence that obstructs the body worn camera view.
On that particular officer's body camera?
Yes, and there were no other officers in the immediate area during the time.
Thank you.